Hello all, I miss you. I hope you're having fun with your families while we're all staying home. So this week we're going to talk about Australia, which is a continent, but also a country. So the continent includes other areas such as New Zealand, but we're talking about the country of Australia. And the project that we're doing this week is rain sticks. Here's one that Laura made that is supposed to sound like rain falling. So let's first talk about rain sticks. Actually, first let me show you the pictures. So this is a picture of a rain stick. This is a picture of some craft rain sticks, and this is a picture of some Aboriginal dot painting, which I'll talk about in just a minute. First, rain sticks. The rain stick is an ancient musical instrument used by some cultures and in some ceremonies as a way to call for rain to come when there is drought. So drought, if you don't know, means that the land is dry, there hasn't been enough rain to provide water for animals and people that need it, or plants to grow that you might use for food that you eat. So in some places it gets dry and there can be droughts and they need rain to come. So a rain stick would have been something they would use that sounded like rain to call for rains to come. Many rain sticks are decorated with Australian Aboriginal dot painting, although the actual use of rain sticks doesn't appear to have been used in Australia. So because it's a dry land, I think that people assumed that there would have been rain sticks and decorated them with this dot painting. But from my research, I looked through just online, but looked through artifacts from museums in Australia and musical instruments and my normal research, and didn't find actual use of rain sticks. But because it has the dot art, I thought we would still do it anyway. So let's talk about the dot painting. So again, that is a picture of some dot painting, and I found this very fascinating. Indigenous people used to have secret ceremonies where their art would be drawn on their bodies and in the sand. The art had meaning and was considered sacred and meant to be kept secret. When Europeans came and encouraged them to display their art, they put layers of dots over it so that the secret part could not be understood by Europeans. So like secret messages, they would do their paintings but then layer them with dots so that people that knew what they were looking for would still be able to see the symbols that meant something to them, but someone like you or I would look at it and just see dots, a pretty dot painting. So I think that's very cool. So we're going to do on our rain sticks some dot art, or if you don't want to do the rain stick at all, just some dot art, some dot painting. Although I'm not using painting here, I'm using, you will all recognize, my Sharpies, my colored Sharpies. Alright, moving on, Australia, which is what we're talking about. Here's a picture of Australia here, and there's one there, and if you can see on my map, even back here, there's Australia there. Oh, I should show you where we are. Nope, we are way up here. Australia is across the Pacific Ocean down here. Alright, Australia. Australia is the smallest continent, but the sixth largest country in the world. So we've talked about continents a lot. There are 7 continents. I think you'll probably all remember that. So we've been calling Australia a continent. Sometimes it's referred to as Oceania, I think is how you say it. But we've been calling it Australia. Australia, Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, North America, and Antarctica. So Australia is one of those 7 continents, but it's also this country. So the smallest continent, but the 6th largest country. I don't think we've actually talked about how many countries there are in the world. Probably because there's not one clear answer. Countries are often changing for a lot of reasons. Sometimes one country will split into 2. Sometimes an area will call itself a country, but the people around it or other people in the world will say, no, you're not actually a country. Sometimes countries will merge together, or there can be a lot of shifting and changing. The United States, I believe, says there are 196 countries, so around 200. So Australia is going to be the 6th largest out of that about 200 countries. Let's see. It is also the flattest continent, so we have mountains around here, not very flat. Australia is very flat, which is probably part of the reason it's very dry. It is also the driest, except for Antarctica, which is very fascinating. So when we think of deserts, we think of sand and heat, which Australia is. It's very arid, it's very dry. Antarctica actually is considered a desert as well, even though it is ice, because it doesn't get very much precipitation. It doesn't get rainfall. So this is considered desert because a desert has to do with measuring rainfall. So even though it's cold, it's still called a desert, which is very cool. Back to Australia. Australia is home to the Great Barrier Reef, the biggest mass of coral in the world, and a famous tourist attraction. One of my friends has been. It looks beautiful from pictures. I have never been. The Great Barrier Reef, if you don't know what coral is, it's in the ocean, looks like rock with a bunch of holes in it. It's actually a living thing, and attracts a lot of other sea creatures. It's important to the habitats in the sea for the other animals and things. So divers will go dive around the coral to see all the other animal life and plant life that lives in the coral. So that is Australia. There's lots more, but that's what I wrote. Now on to animals, which we all love. And Australia is full of interesting animals. So the first one I'm going to show you, some of you may know what this is. This is a platypus. A platypus is a mammal, but lays eggs. So if you know what a mammal is, a mammal gives birth to its young, not in eggs, gets milk from its mother, and is warm-blooded. So a platypus does lay eggs, but it's one of 2 mammals that lay eggs. Slightly confusing, but that's what scientists say. It has a bill like a duck, a furry body, webbed feet, and a tail like a beaver, a flat tail. And the males can be venomous. The males are venomous. In their back leg they have a spike that has venom in it. So a crazy kind of animal. There's the platypus. There's that flat tail. Some other animals. There are more kangaroos that live in Australia than people. So a lot of kangaroos hopping around Australia. The echidna is the only other mammal that lays eggs and also lives in Australia. Has a spiny coat, little hedgehog or porcupine type creature. There's a Tasmanian devil, which is a nocturnal marsupial. So nocturnal means it's active at night. Marsupial means it carries its baby in a pouch, like a kangaroo. And it only lives on the island of Tasmania, which is this island right there underneath Australia. So they used to be found all over Australia. Now you can only find them on that little island. Let's see. The kookaburra is a bird that's call can sound like a person laughing. The emu is a large bird that can't fly, like the ostrich. It can be up to 6 feet 5 inches, which is taller than me. I'm a 5'9", so a bird that's bigger than me, if I were standing in front of it, it could be taller than me. And can run up to 31 miles per hour, which is very fast. Some of the world's most poisonous snakes are found in Australia. There are many other fascinating animals. That is just a few. So that is what I have about Australia. If you have any questions, let me know. And next we'll get to our crafting portion. Thank you.